First thing in the morning, what's going on, everybody? So yesterday we posted the video of Nolan, our newest employee here at Crown Entertainment. We posted his very first solo gig, and it wasn't solo, as you guys know. I tagged along with him, but my goal in that was to interject as little as possible. Essentially, I wanted to be a fly on the wall and make sure that nothing just went way out of whack. Now, he trained with the team for about 3 months. He also did some one-on-one training with me here at the office in that time. And then whenever I feel it's a good time, I'll release them out on their own. Some of my guys have taken a little longer to grasp the idea of it, and then some of the guys that I have that have already been DJs, maybe for another company, maybe independently. Those guys generally get what we do pretty quick, and I'm able to let them kind of do their own thing without me essentially micromanaging them, because I know how that feels, and I wouldn't want to be in that position. But at the same time, it is my job to make sure that my guys go out and perform to the best of their ability. But Nolan's first gig, I know a lot of you guys can remember the first time that you had your first gig, how nerve-wracking it was. Imagine your boss being there by your side. If you were working for another company, if you were just by yourself, you're going through those fears all alone. And it's still a feeling that I can't describe. That butterfly feeling that you get whenever you have your first gig. It's something that you'll never forget. And I still to this day get small butterflies before some of my events. Some of them that I know are going to be pretty routine. It's another day. I just have to see how I can make that day most exciting. But some of the gigs that I get where I just start the day off with that feeling in my gut, and it never truly goes away. So I'm gonna drop Nolan's Instagram right here. Go show him some love over on his page. He's a very talented, funny guy. So if you follow him, I'm sure you won't be disappointed. At the end of that video, I kind of cut something out because I thought I should save it for an entirely new video, is finding that first employee or finding your next employee, things that I look for, things maybe you should be looking for, the qualities that I consider to be a good candidate for an event host. Every market, every company is going to be a little bit differently, but I recorded a clip at the very end of that, and I kind of expressed why Nolan fit the bill for my company. And I'm going to play the video, and then I'm going to be interjecting whenever I think I should. Oh, so while we're talking, and this is probably something I might sit you guys down in the office and talk more about this, but Nolan is the perfect candidate for a new hire. I should probably never say that on film. No one's perfect. There's always room for improvement. Especially as a new guy, I might have pumped his head up a little bit. But that's okay. We were in the middle of reviewing his day. He did a good job. I said some words. Nobody's perfect. You can give compliments without going overboard. That might be a touch overboard. He's college educated, so he's got a college degree. He's responsible enough to have some education. Not saying that you need a college degree to do this job, because you don't. You absolutely do not need a college degree to be an event host, a DJ, any of that. I know a lot of examples of very well-off or well-to-do business owners that never went to college or dropped out of college. What I am saying is he's a college graduate, which means he's somewhat responsible. He showed up to class on time. But then again, you don't need a college degree to do this job. When searching for your newest event host, one thing that also shows that you're responsible is long-term job history. So, of course, we're trying to find young people to fit the bill for our new generation of DJs. But that doesn't mean that they can't, they could have worked at Starbucks for 2 years, or, they were a tutor at the library at their college while they were in college, whether they finished or not. If you're hiring someone that's a little bit older, that long-term job history, good references, make sure you follow up on those references. You don't have to be college educated to do what we do. But a college degree does show that, he at least was responsible enough to show up to work every day. And that's what I look for.
Degree. So he's got some responsibility aspect in that. That's number one. Number two is he's also like currently, I wouldn't say in between jobs, but he's looking for a 9-to-5 job where he's got weekends and holidays and stuff like that off, because A, he's trying to be a professional, but B, weekends is when we work all the time.
I find young professionals to really be the best candidates. Those people like Nolan who are, maybe in college and not working, or just graduated college and have a solid 9-to-5. They're young. They still want to go out on the weekends. They're still full of life and energy. And their schedule, if they're working at a bank or working at an office or wherever, generally it's 9-to-5, Monday through Friday, every weekend off. Even someone like Rick Webb, the homie Rick Webb, he works for a manufacturing facility. He's a young professional. I think he's 23-ish, 24, maybe somewhere in there. But he works a 9-to-5 and generally off every weekend. That's the best. That's the best candidate. Also, with the secondary job comes the fact that they don't necessarily need your money. So typically they want to do this to have fun and gain experience and exposure and be in the nightlife scene. And the pay, although you should always pay your employees fair, they're not going to be dependent upon it like a full-time event host would be.
Now, currently, Nolan works for a devil company named Walmart.
Fun fact, Walmart was started in my home state, if you didn't know that. Good old Arkansas.
And that's no knock on Walmart, but it's tough to find good help that have retail or food oriented jobs.
That's very true. Retail, it's hard for them to control their schedules. Also with working in the food industry, pretty much anything in service is going to be tough to find a candidate whose schedule is flexible enough for you to really count on them.
Because it's tough to get off on the weekends. So once Nolan gets his day job situation figured out, where he's not working retail, where he's got every weekend off, where he knows, if I send him an inquiry, or if I send him a job like a month out, he knows he can do it. It's not, well, let me see what the schedule at work kind of pans out to be.
Retail is a little bit easier than the fast food industry. Typically, you work what you work, and your days off are your days off. In retail, if you can schedule it out long enough, typically you don't have to worry about scheduling conflicts. But as I'm finding with Nolan, that is, it still can be a challenge.
So that's number one. He's college educated. 2, we're working on the job thing. That'll come. 3, he's a musician. So he plays guitar, sings. So he's got a kind of roundabout idea of hooking up XLRs and microphones and DIs.
I love working with musicians because typically they know how to roll and coil cable, which is something that I am super on my guys about it, because I have a lot of money invested in cable, and when you throw my cable back in that box at the end of the day and it's all coiled up and it sits in that box for a couple of days or until next weekend, and then you get to your next job, the cables don't lay nicely, John gets pissed. But musicians typically know how a microphone works, how an EQ works on a DJ controller or on a mixer. They know about DIs and wireless mics, and typically if they're a musician and they've been playing either at coffee shops or at church or something like that, they've had to hook up their own gear. And I will say that DJ gear typically is a lot easier than doing live sound stuff. So if they can show up to a church or wherever, a coffee shop or a piano bar or something like that, and plug in, be ready to go. That's a huge plus, and it speeds the training up on my end significantly.
Like for today, we had an instrumentalist. Like he's got that kind of down. It's just working on the performance aspect. And number 3, he's got a background in like public speaking. So when he was in college, he worked for an organization called the Wesley Foundation. It's like a Christian-oriented like university program. And he was, what were you? What was your title?
I was the social media manager, and then I was an intern, but generally I was the person who kind of set the tone for events. A lot of event planning.
A lot of event planning, which comes in well with what we do, because there's a lot of times where you don't have a lot of direction from whoever the coordinator is. And it's especially a lot of the weddings we do in rural Arkansas, the coordinator isn't like, that's not what they do.
I find that to be true in whatever market. Coordinators are either really good or they have no idea what they're doing.
They're a school teacher, and they just so happen to be the aunt of the bride, and they're coordinating the day because people think they're organized, but they don't know what they're doing. We do this every weekend. So if he's got a background in event planning, it works out well. And the 4th caveat, Nolan, what's your degree in?
My degree is in strategic communication and PR.
I didn't know this until after I'd already, I kind of knew about it in the interview process. But at the end of the day, if you can find someone that can help you grow your company with their own strengths and background, it's a good fit.
Strategic communication and PR with some social media stuff in there. So why not add an asset to your company that can grow your company? So he's already given me some ideas about social media and engaging online, and he's looked over the website. So not only is there opportunity for him to go out and be an event host, but there's some behind the scenes work that can be done Monday through Friday.
I'm also going to plug his Instagram down here again, just because he is kind of doing this for freelance as well. So if you're interested in getting some social media PR coaching from someone who's got a background in it, or at least a degree in it, be sure to hit him up on Instagram. He's done a great job for me. Your mileage may vary.
To not only like improve the business, but like it all reflects back to him. The more people that click on our social media posts, the more people that go to the website, he's the one going to be doing the event. So it kind of, you help me, help you.
It's all in how you sell it.
Type situation. That's enough for today.
I'm not going to go over everything that we just watched, but you kind of get the point. I look for responsible young adults who have professional careers, or have some acronym to them to some degree. I see a lot of my friends that post job listings for their multi-op, and they say no experience required. We'll teach you everything that you need to know. I'm kind of in that same fit as well. Nolan had never DJ'd before, but he was a musician. So he kind of got the idea. He loves music. He was telling me about his playlist that he was putting together, and I kind of looked at his playlist, and I'm like, those are some pretty banger playlists. So that's how we kind of got the conversation started. But it's finding someone who doesn't have bad habits from their old DJ company, whether if you're picking up a DJ that has previously worked for another company, or maybe worked for their, they had their own business. There's a reason why they're now sitting in your interview office. So, getting those old habits broken can be a challenge. But I will say that the DJs that we have here on staff that were DJs for other companies or for themselves, they were able, as long as you set a clear and concise path of how you do things, those guys were able to go out in the field extremely quickly. So I will say with one comes the benefit of getting a person out there as soon as possible, so you can start generating revenue off of their namesake. But there's also something to be said on taking a person who has never done this and molding them into what you want them to be. But that's what I look for in a new hire. Tell me down in the comments, down in the comment section below. Let us all know if you've got a multi-op, or maybe you just got maybe it's a growing multi-op, but you and one other guy. What traits do you look for when hiring your next candidate? Everyone would love to know. I will tell you that finding good people who are going to do a good job and rep your brand as if it's their own brand and that aren't going to rob you blind, those people are hard to find. It takes some losses to get a couple of wins. And I went through 3 or 4 event hosts that didn't work out before I found no one. So if you get to that kind of fork in the road and you're like, man, I can't find anybody that's loyal and trustworthy, just keep pressing forward. Keep moving forward. That's what I've done, and it's worked out well for me.
But yeah, until next time, as always, you can catch more behind the scenes content if you follow me on social media, all things djwoopig, at djwoopig across all the platforms. That's where you'll find me. And as always, you can always give me a call, 501-27